Hey team, the purpose of this video is to give you a tiny overview of what slicing software looks like. The software I'm going to work with today is designed by Makerbot. I use Makerbot printers, therefore I use the Makerbot slicing software in order to prepare my prints for printing on a 3D printer. From my other screen, I'm going to grab one of my models and I'm just going to drop it on the screen. And when I do that, it's going to insert the file into this space. I'm going to rotate around just a little bit so that you can see that thin perimeter. You'll see that interior shape. The purpose of showing you that interior shape is that this is the maximum amount of space that this specific printer can design a model in. So whatever your model is, it should not be larger than that thin perimeter of this specific rectangle. The machine is incapable of printing larger than that space. Now, in a different software, you can break your model into two pieces and then glue it together when you're done. But when it comes to printing one singular item, it cannot stretch beyond the perimeter that you see here. Prior to printing, the STL file needs to be converted to a G code. G code is a specific computer language that tells the machinery where and how to move in order to deposit filament. It's a completely different type of computer programming code that's different from just the shape and size and color of the model. This area down here is where the print bed is located. This is where the model will be printed. The items on the right-hand side give me the ability to specify unique characteristics about printing this model. Let me click right here on the second button over in the menu on the right. This is going to let me know approximately how long this model will take to print inside of the Replicator Plus. So the Replicator Plus is a specific model of printer made by Makerbot. Makerbot makes more than one type of printer. On the left-hand side, I have a bubble right here that lets me see what it would look like for each of those individual layers to print. As I evaluate this model, I can detect if there might be any problems along the way, and I can make changes to those print specifications before I generate the file for the actual printer. So I can investigate and evaluate whether or not I am satisfied with this print. You might be curious about the orange layer on the bottom. The orange layer on the bottom is the raft. We talked about the raft in a previous video. The raft is that disposable temporary layer that prevents the model from sticking to the actual print bed. And it all just depends on the printer. Not all printers actually need a raft to be printed. But for this particular model, for this particular machine, I find more success if I print a raft. Now, you may have noticed on the interior of the model that it almost had like a honeycomb appearance. This is classified as the infill. The infill represents the interior of the model. Now, it would take a lot of time and it would be far more expensive if the interior of this model were completely filled with plastic. So, because it saves time and money to only have some of the interior filled with plastic, that's usually how most 3D models are printed. And you can specify in the software what the infill looks like. So let's think about it. If there's more plastic on the inside, it's going to be a stronger model. If there's less plastic on the inside, it won't be as strong. But not all models are going to withstand a lot of pressure. So for this specific model, that's the perfect amount of plastic to provide adequate support on the inside of that model. Over here on the right, you'll notice that it will take approximately 41 minutes for this specific model to print. Now, I'm going to click over here for that to disappear. Another thing that I want to show you is this one right here, which indicates any adjustments that you want to make to the model. let me click one time on the model. And now that I've clicked one time on the model, I can make adjustments. If I want the X, the Y, or the Z axis of this model to grow. Whoa, Mrs. Clover, what are you talking about? See down here in the left-hand corner how you have Z going up. You have X and Y going one direction or the other. If I type 1, 2, 0, 120 into the X coordinate, oh, see how it rotated? That is not very excellent, and we actually don't want it to print that way. But sometimes we do want the model to rotate just a little bit. If you're printing 3 or 4 models at one time and you want them to rotate just a little bit, then you can use these coordinates over here in order to adjust what that model looks like on the print bed. For example, the Z coordinate would allow it to rotate over to the left or the right just a little bit. So you'll notice how, let me scoot out just a little bit. You'll notice how it's a little bit twisted right now. Depending on the number of items that you're printing on at any one time, it could potentially save you some space in order to print that way. Let me put it back to normal. All right, we're back to normal. I'm going to click in order for the orientation to disappear. Then I'm going to scoot down one right here where it says scale. This is how I can increase the size of my model. If I have decided that it's a pretty decent size, but I want to adjust it just a little bit, I can either leave uniform scaling so that every aspect grows at the perfect ratio and none of it is distorted. I can use 120 to grow the entire model left, right, up, and down at 120%. So now it's just a little bit larger than it was a moment ago. And friends, if it's a little bit larger, it's going to take more than 41 minutes to print. So just pay attention that anything that's larger will take more filament and more time. Now, if I untick the box right here where it says uniform scaling and I change the numbers in just one area, then it means that that one area alone will be adjusted. So maybe it's thinner, or it might be more narrow, or it could be thicker. So you'll notice how the letter Y is skinnier than it was a second ago. See, 120 means that it's wider. 100 means that it's skinnier. And if the letter Z were changed to 100, now the model is narrower. It is not as thick. That's what 120% looks like. This is what 100% looks like. So if for some reason the model is too large in one ratio, in one specific area or another, you can make those adjustments in the slicing software if needed. Now, in a model like this, because there is an opening over here, you would need to make sure that any of those adjustments do not compromise the size of that opening. This is similar to a keychain. It would be a backpack tag or a cane tag, and whatever you are going to slip through that hole, you would just need to make sure that you're not compromising the ability for that item to go through that spot. I also have the ability to click the reset button, so if I wanted to take it back to normal, I can easily take it back to normal. You'll notice over here on the right-hand side that it shows you the specific millimeters. So if you're using a ruler and you want to make sure that you have exact measurements that are extraordinarily perfect, then you can utilize these millimeters over here in order to ensure that your model is exactly the right size. In order to center the item on the build plate, you can come to this area over here, and then you can click right here one time in order to center the model. However, if you don't need it to be centered, you can use these adjustments over here to scoot them, or you can actually just grab it and move it. If you feel like one area of your build plate is slightly worn out because it's used a lot, you can diversify or scoot around and adjust where your item is printed so that there's uniform wear and tear on that build plate. Right here where it says print settings, this is how you can change some of the settings. For example, if the exterior walls of your print are excessively thin and you want several layers of build material to support the wall structures, then you can make those adjustments here. If you feel like there is stringing in your print, or if you need to utilize retraction or adjust the inner layers, then you can use the settings over here in order to make those adjustments. If you scoot down, you can open up the custom settings. And when you open up the custom settings, this is how you can tell the machine exactly how you want that item to be printed. In here, I'm not going to go through all of these settings, but this is where any adjustments can be made in order to refine your print. If it's not exactly perfect and you need to make some adjustments, these are those areas where you would make those adjustments. The speed at which the extruder is depositing filament can be adjusted. I spoke just a minute ago about the outer shell or the outer wall. If you feel like you need more outer wall to provide a better print, you can make those tweaks and those adjustments over here. Earlier, I was talking about the infill in order to make a stabilized print that is strong. You can choose a different type of pattern in order to make the print stronger or to save more filament. There are different types of interior fill patterns to make sure that you achieve what you want in your print. The thickness of the floor or the bottom area of your model, the base layer, whether or not you have a raft, if you need a skirt or a brim. Those are other pieces of vocabulary to describe that lower region of the print. Some of those things are temporary and throw away. Some of them are not. Each machine is different. For our classroom, the teacher is the only one who will be using this specific software, so you don't have to feel like you need to be an expert on how to use this. This is something that only your teacher will use. However, I feel like it's important for you to be aware of this software because at some point in time, it might be a software that you might work with. And again, this is what prepares the G code, so the machine knows exactly how to print the model inside of the 3D printer. Friends, when I am completely and totally satisfied with my model and I'm ready for it to print, it is my job to come down here to the export button, and this is where I export it to the thumb drive so that I can transfer that file over to the 3D printer and officially print my model. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching today's tutorial and have a great day.